Hi, I'm Kelly, the Scarf Witch, and this is the Liminal Tapestry, a space where I follow glimmers of remembered threads, weaving through story, symbol, and soul. Threads that rise from the liminal and move through both the mysterious eternal and the practical now. I don't always know where they're leading, but I follow the movement as a quiet invitation to wander and to weave. So I'm here. It's been a week. I have about 30 topic ideas for podcasts, and they keep coming in, but actually sitting down and putting one into form, they don't want to happen. Yesterday, I had this guilt-free day of drifting in and out of naps. It felt like I got a lot of what people might call downloads, lots of interesting dreams and some chicken scratch notes, but I really can't remember most of it, except one thing. I heard, "You already have it in you. It will come when you need it." That's just a whole other level of trust. I like to know where things are leading. I'm the type of person who double checks her purse 3 times before entering a store. Just trusting that I have what I need when I need it. Okay, universe, here we go. I guess I'm ready. And then I also start questioning, should this podcast really be weekly? Is that even reasonable? Or is maybe that actually a good thing? Does it keep me focused on something that's mine alone? There's no deadline that somebody's waiting for this. Is that resistance worth pushing through? And right now, I think it is. There's been this theme around beauty I've been seeing lately. One of the hexagrams in I Ching is called grace, and sometimes beauty. It's hexagram number 22. It's mountain over fire, the stillness of the mountain in the outer world with the fire of clarity inward, standing apart with power inside. Magnetic not as an object, but as an internal light radiating outward with magnificence. In the inner compass version of the trigrams outlined by William Douglas Horden, this is gestation in the time of certainty. There's this quality of beauty that it doesn't rush, because it doesn't need to. It's sovereign. Somewhere in the middle of my scratched notes, I wrote, "Beauty is the enemy of productivity." And it really is just another way of saying, stop and smell the roses. We're so conditioned to value the structure of the form, but what about the experience of the form? I'm starting to get over the myth that we have to show something for our time. Yesterday, in and out of dreaming, I can't hand you a report of what I learned, but I did feel more at peace today. I was able to be present. I was able to surrender into doing this, even though I didn't want to do the topic I picked. On my planning, I just had to take a back seat. So I just started to speak into my voice memo, just to see what wanted to be birthed into form. I was the mountain, just stating, but not yet having that inner clarity. And then all this talk of gestating, I can't help but think about the atrocity that's happening with Adriana Smith. A woman's body being used as an incubator after death to prove a point, to experiment. I don't know what, but it is entirely disconnected from any sort of understanding or reverence for humanity. So much in me wants to go and what, Kelly? Save the world? And at the same time, what am I doing speaking of beauty and stillness when people are getting hurt? And at the same time, still, how do I come to right action without first staying still and listening? I'm going to stay with this tension. I'm going to move forward, but I keep this with me. At some point, my part in all of this will come into full clarity so I can take the right action where it's meaningful and I can make an impact. But I also refuse to let that stilt my pull to go inward, because in fact, I think that is part of the right action. This is part of the surrender, I think, realizing that this isn't dysfunction. It's timing, or maybe just a deepening. It's trusting where this thread is going. There is so much talk about the rise of the divine feminine, and that is so wrapped up in cultural narratives I don't want to replicate. But yet still, I feel it. I feel this cycle. There's something to this descent towards stillness that may be the very nature of this next phase. And I think there's multiple cycles that are making their way to sunset. One feels ancient. One feels maybe a couple thousand years old, and one that possibly aligns with this fourth generational turning. The sun is setting on what we might call masculine energy, though, again, I really hate to use that term because it's so gendered. As an elder millennial, I feel the weight. I see other millennials who feel done too, burnt out, given up. I saw someone say millennials might get lost, that we won't lead because boomers won't step aside. And part of me is like, I am not waiting for you to pass the baton. But even in that, I wonder what if it ultimately is just a different type of leadership? I look at the classical elemental triangles. Upward is masculine, downward is feminine. We tie it to the body, the phallus, and the womb. But what if it's not about that at all? What if the point of the triangle shows us where God is? In the upright triangle, the point is at the top. God is up there somewhere. It creates hierarchy, a mountain to climb, a container that constricts, like a lid, a select few rising to godlike status. In the upside down triangle, the point is on the ground. God is within, inward, grounded. When we find source inside ourselves, we become sovereign. And when we gather in our own threads, we can look up and out and build community. The upright triangle contains through control. The inverted triangle holds through connection. We're not all failing to get to the top. We're already grounded together. And maybe millennials, with our bad rap of being lazy, maybe we're just tending to the soil. I keep thinking maybe there was a time when we were deeply connected to the earth, to nature, to the unseen forces. And maybe things got stagnant. Not bad, just still. So light had to enter, motion had to return, the sun had to rise. And now it's time for the sun to set, time to go inward again. And it took me a while to wrap my head around going inward is also creating community. And it's because we're not reaching up for God, we're reaching in. And when we root into our own thread, we rise together. That's what builds the horizontal web, the network. And I'm really treating this descent as sacred. In a productivity-obsessed world, it looks like depression, stillness, slowness. But it might actually be the path inward. The tapestry I keep seeing looks like a neural network or a root system, deeply connected. The first time I tried to connect to my higher self in a guided meditation, it didn't come from above, it came from below. One of the topics I thought I'd go into today was the devil, the deck, and the database, about how people both deify and vilify AI, just like they do with tarot or any spiritual tool. It's because going in, going down creates autonomy. You connect to source on your own terms, you flip that triangle, you flip the hierarchy, and that's destabilizing. I mean, I'm destabilized. Letting go of productivity is proof. Remember that the way in also expands out. It feels like a giving up, but there is a very fine line between giving up and surrendering. Surrendering into a process that brings forth something new. So I could have forced the prepared topic. I had notes, I had structure, but this is what wanted to come through. Those notes will be there when the timing's right. Going with it, and this experiment continues. What cycle are you in right now? Are you climbing the mountain? Are you being called to ground? Are you able to trust the seeds that you're planting in the dark and patient enough to let them grow and still remember to water them every once in a while? If these questions linger, if they sit with you longer than expected, I encourage you to let them, even if it doesn't seem like there's something to show for it. That's part of the work, I think. So, thanks for listening. I hope you meet me here again, between the mysterious eternal and the practical now. Until then, may the threads tug gently and your weaving be effortless.